Ours is a crazy place in oh so many ways. Let's try to make some sense of it on Spiritfolk Saturdays.
Welcome to the weekly feeling intent-based podcast, Spiritfolk Saturdays. Today we're here to talk about episode 85, part 19 of The Gods Are Gone arc. I'm your host, Elfie, spirit of iconoclasm, and yes, I'm aware that's redundant. Joining us this week are Raven.
Spirit of loneliness.
Again.
I wasn't the spirit of loneliness before.
No, I mean, it's just you again.
Oh, yeah.
There's the one that
Kappa
joined us
excuse me, just me?
Yes!
Just?
Yes! We each have a ton of notes, so hopefully we'll still be able to fill a bunch of time. Because, I mean, this was a super invigorating, action-packed episode.
I mean, was it? Technically, not that much happened, similar to a lot of the ones you've been frustrated with, but at the same time, a lot happened.
Not much occurred, but a lot of things happened.
That is a good way of putting it. That is a very good way of putting it.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know where to start, like, chronologically?
Let's start by saying that, okay, can we both agree, like, if we were going to, pick people to go on this kind of mission out of the party, including, Thog and Kier, like, the first choices would be Ash or Marcus, like, one of those two is the top, the other one's the second choice, and then Thog is the third, right?
Probably.
So the two people that got sent were the two people you would not want to pick.
I'd put Kier on equal ground with Thog, because Thog has, like, contract skills, but Kier at least has some knowledge of spirits, and, like...
Dude, his knowledge of spirits is they throw stuff at your head.
Yes!
And that's their way of being friendly.
And how is that any different than this?
Because he'd think it crushing his wrist meant they were making progress.
Exactly.
And also, he wouldn't have the force of will to back it up if he had to do it instead of Gregor. Thog, on the other hand, could win. It would be drawn-on eyes versus dead fish eyes.
Lifeless dead fish eyes.
Lifeless so it's just two sets of lifeless eyes staring into each other endlessly as they barter contracts.
It reminds me of the terrible joke I made, is that, like, the whole thing with Jin is kind of eye for an eye, no wonder they're drawn on.
Oh, jeez. I hadn't heard that.
I posted in chat yesterday. I'd start with how we tend to start, how I enjoy starting these, and just read off all of my weird episode title ideas. If you have any.
My only one is barrel full of hypocrites.
Everyone in this country is an idiot. Gregor the hypocrite, the circle of murder, Mister Cloudman, and train wreck diplomacy.
Oh, those are all pretty good. Mister Cloudman is pretty damn good.
Yeah, right?
I don't feel like it's the most comical, but at the same time, it's got a ring to it, you know? And
right?
It's a good reference.
And you can get the song stuck in your head for hours at a time.
You son of a bitch, you did that on purpose.
It happened to me yesterday when they first called him Cloudman, and then I got that song stuck in my head and just like, damn.
Why would you spread the pain? Bastard.
Let's see.
You're lucky I don't go to the kitchen and start making pudding right now.
I like that that's a threat. That is an actual threat.
Right? I'm pretty sure you'd reach through the computer and strangle me, but it's still a valid threat.
I'd said it before, I'm willing to do a one-person podcast at some point. That might just be, like, what I end up doing when I'm on my cruise in a couple of weeks. Just be like, okay, I have nothing better to do. I'm just going to ramble into a microphone.
How the fuck are you going to have Wi-Fi on a cruise ship?
See, you have, like, a thing where you can purchase internet, but it's really slow, and you get a limited amount, so, like, I will probably pay enough to work on things I need to work on, including schoolwork, and watch TI, and that's about it. And then I'll just edit it and upload it when I get home.
Or you could just wait and do multi-coverage ones. Or you could... Well, there's a while until the cruise anyway.
Yeah, so we'll see. Zeke got really, like... and excited about, like, the Marcus clone that's still standing under the waterfall. Just like...
He's so excited about it. I really hope that Marcus sneaks back in there at some point before finally coming out, just so that Zeke won't be disappointed and like have his spirit and hopes crushed.
I
Let him live the lie.
want to see what would happen if the clone did like dissipate. Like what would Zeke do? Is he just gonna?
Zeke might just freak out and think that like his student melted. This is Shinkala.
His truth was too strong for this mortal plane.
That or the waterfall's truth was stronger.
He withstood the waterfall's truth for so long, though.
Yes, but eventually the battle wore him down.
God.
If only the waterfall had had an arm to grab and they could do a staring contest, it might have been an even fight.
Oh.
Shinkolin diplomacy is possibly my new favorite thing. Like, every time we find out something new and this place becomes more absurd and anime, I love it more.
That's an interesting point I wanted to bring up, is that it's Jinkalin wrestling, not Honorian wrestling. And when they're talking about overthrowing their gods, they say Jinkala overthrew their gods, not honor. So, like, I don't know, was Jinkala like a city-state that grew to encompass the land? What?
I It might have just been that Jay wasn't paying too much attention and used the two interchangeably.
Maybe. Oh, and also calling Zelvetta the notorious murder man of Jinkala, which made me grin like an idiot because it's really cute.
I think that being called that by the Bow Ripper is both a badge of pride and a sign that you need to re-examine your life.
And the really simplistic Zelvetta token during the
Trusty katana in one hand, even more trusty whip ass in the other. Is like, I just love the image of Zeke like not wearing the Bow Ripper outfit, nothing else, but like in this wide stance with katana in one hand, that absurdly insanely long katana, and whip ass in the other, just like ready to go. Just fucking let's do this. Like, something about that image is too fantastic to me.
hmm And he's like ambidextrous, so he switches them around.
I think you mean he's gonna use both hands for the katana after he ties the whip ass to the end.
I feel like that wouldn't quite work.
I don't think the whip ass should work.
I think it should.
The point is, it's Shinkala. If he believes it's true enough, it'll work. It's the land of Colvin.
No, that's who I want to see, is the Honorian god of truth.
The Honorian god of truth would be the one god they couldn't overthrow.
Exactly.
Ah, shit. Man, the Honorian god of truth would like be able to kick everybody's ass. By the way, of all the gods to pick a fight with, like, truth aside, Gregor literally picked the toughest god possible to pick a beef with. No wonder that god is the head of the band. He can just. Matter is his bitch.
There are a couple things I wanted to point out about Cloudman,
Go ahead.
Mister Cloudman. First off, in the description, it says band leader with a question mark in parentheses, so that worries me slightly. And then when they asked him if he was the band leader, he said, quite specifically, yes, I led the forces into battle today. So I'm kind of assuming that there might be like alternating band leaders or multiple band leaders. Like,
Oh.
that's really specific choice of words.
Well, maybe it's like calling one of the leaders the clan leader. Like, they didn't specify which clan. Maybe there are multiple groups within the band.
Yeah.
In which case, if all of the other ones are as tough as he was, y'all are fucked. Gregor, I'm looking at you when I say that.
There's also, isn't it the implication that the original leaders of the clans were Spiritfolk? There was the Lily clan leader definitely was in the past, but there was also, God, I just rewatched it. I feel like I should remember this because I want to say there was implication that the other ones weren't spirits.
I'm not positive. I feel like, by the way, he did have a very valid point that they've been living, running, and like Gregor was saying how the ban hadn't been like basic. He said or implied that the spirits hadn't been being hunted. The band weren't like it. They were picking the fight. But we heard a fucking story about this one guy who did literally nothing but raise these two kids, and people came and murdered the shit out of him after killing an entire village that he was associated with.
Yep.
Like, Gregor, how the fuck do you keep saying that the humans aren't just as monstrous in this situation? Because clearly they are. They really are.
After said master was hiding for 35 years, like
He was not picking fights here. They had been doing this just out of spite. This wasn't. This was the different like spiritual creature type slash race version of fucking ethnic cleansing. That is what this comes down to. Even if they were the ones in charge before, this was still at that point just about revenge and slaughter. Gregor, stop trying to act like it wasn't.
hmm it is a war of escalation and
Yes.
stupidity.
Well, the stupidity is a given. It's Shinkala.
So yeah, we did learn that the Great Iconoclasm was 50 years ago. Wow, which is like I kind of confused the two, where I thought the thing with Zeke's master was the Iconoclasm 15 years ago, but then I rewatched it and realized I was wrong. So
He hid out for a long effing time.
yeah,
Wait, no, wait. Yeah, okay, it was 15 years ago, so he out for 25 years.
35.
35 years. I can math good.
The Cloudman's name was immediately just like, oh, I see where this is going, because his name is Jin, which I assume is spelled Xin, and I mean it's called Jinkala. So, I mean,
When he gave up his form, how temporary was this? Because,
what do you mean?
well, didn't he say he was like giving the last of the power in this form to the
Yeah,
flower? So when he said this form, did he mean like he's reincarnating, or just like that this body he was kind of gonna go, burn the last of this one and go make a new one fast? Like, are we talking Fox King style, or are we talking Wisp style?
I feel like it was implying the just recreating another body, because whole thing of not the wisp one, the other one. I feel like that's what it was kind of implying.
I hope so, because otherwise he just fucked Gregor over majorly. Because now there's no one but a bunch of humans to convince the band the deal was made.
Yeah,
Actually,
I'm
that would have been a glorious way of screwing them over.
I'm also kind of surprised that Jin did not call out Horvin, because Horvin is a band. Why is this never come up?
I think that he realizes that having Horvin there is ultimately important on some level for the hope of peace in the future or for minimizing escalation right now, so he didn't want to out him.
A neutral party, or a
Yeah.
neutral party.
Or somebody who's playing both sides, even if he's not neutral per se.
Yeah. He has the best interests of each side in mind.
Yep.
There's also the when Shin says a spirit folk never truly dies, and it's just like, oh, do we have news for you?
It's like, well, it's a good thing we didn't bring Marcus along, because you would have been really sore after this.
I feel like we'd have been offended at the concept of iconoclasm as a
Well,
spell.
I think any spirit would be, because it's. I mean, humans are offended by it. It is like
Yeah,
an utter abomination and the worst thing ever.
basically.
Anything that involves raking their being across existence until there's nothing left is generally pretty brutal.
There is definitely the concept of what would happen if you cast iconoclasm on the spirit of reincarnation. That would screw over a lot of spirits.
I think that could just kill an entire fucking country or create a country full of ghosts. Oh
Yeah.
wow, that would be so cool. Wait, no, 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 that would be bad.
Well, if there's a spirit of death, is there a spirit of life?
I think the reincarnation was basically the spirit of life. So him, Sharoth, fisticuffs, let's do this thing.
Charles doesn't have fists. He's a giant shrimp. He's got like this little stubby, like.
The tiny Charoth could do it. Just suplex the bigger one.
He grabs Charles' arm and they just stare into each other's eyes and his hand just slowly goes to the table. Charles doesn't need to say anything to prove his truth is stronger.
Charoth is cheating just as much as the other one is, because Jin has grown-on eyes, but Charoth has no eyes. Just a mask.
Or mouth, or ears.
Someday it's gonna turn out he's got like an entire face under that mask, and it will be the biggest reveal in all of Thrilling Intent.
It'd be awesome. That reminds me of, I was wondering the other day, what's under Colvin's, like, eye patch? Why does he have an eye patch?
Maybe he lost an eye? I still kind of think that he went through an accident that kind of rattled his brain some and also lost him that eye. I think that there's both some emotional, mental trauma causing some repression and also some physical damage that happened that's kind of got him being as Colvin as he is. But that's just one theory, because sometimes he seems a lot more with it than others.
He's like the embodiment of the Honorian like system.
Oh my god, he's the secret god of truth.
Oh lord.
Well, think about it. Even if it was only through surprise, whatchamacallin, the little crazy ninja boy, Salvetta, that one. Salvetta was able to at least temporarily take on Horrivan.
Yeah.
Salvetta and Gregor got their asses handed to them simultaneously by what's his name? Oh god, I'm just spacing on names all of a sudden. Colvin. By Colvin.
Colvin said that Inian is stronger than he is.
True. Then again, he might have misjudged it. Seems like part of her deal is making herself seem a lot stronger than she really is.
I think part of her deal is being too lazy to actually use any of her power.
I mean, I think she's using her power now with Ash.
Yes, we've seen all. There was all just Gregor this episode. It's like, I love the episode, but come on, guys.
Right?
Ash, give us Marcus. Why do you do this?
Matt, I need to readdress. Matt, why would you had a chance to have a Marcus episode, or at least like half an episode of Marcus dealing with his demons and deep reflection, but you just noped out of it.
Literal demons and metaphorical demons.
Dealing with his demons and also dealing with his humans.
Mm-hmm. Oh god, and also just like everyone laughing off screen the entire episode is really cute. As it always is.
It really is. Especially when it's something that their characters would be horrified at.
Like when Zeke first did the story of his whole backstory, and Marcus would just start laughing and be like, "Oh, this is probably something I shouldn't be laughing at."
Oh god. I mean, I think that Zeke's original backstory thing might have been in character laughter because Marcus is sort of a tactless ass at times.
I know, that's great. So how did like Horvin explain the whole thing with Telvillian, but like the cloud guy who was also a Spiritfolk couldn't understand what Telvillian said? So like, how did Horvin know all this stuff?
He might have been told by Cloud Guy.
Well, Cloud Guy didn't, like, he couldn't directly converse with Telvillian despite them both being spirits, so it's kind of, I guess, like...
Well, everything that Horvin said was what Cloud Guy said, so maybe Cloud Guy just told everybody else as the mouthpiece, even if he misinterpreted some of it.
Maybe. Although this also just means that even though the Spiritfolk kind of have their own language in, what is it, Astolan? I always keep messing up the language with that one country from Full Metal Alchemist.
No, let's not do a crossover there. Please, please, no, no bad memories. Oh God, no, 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 no. So much fire.
I'm going to say stolen is the right word because otherwise I'm going to keep this.
Ishtalin.
Yeah. So even though they have like a language that not all spirit folk can speak it or like communicate in it.
Fuck, actually, Ishtal's kind of a good comparison considering the whole slaughter thing. So would that mean that the human Shinkolins would be the military then?
Did you just say we shouldn't do a crossover between those two?
You made me think about it. I blame you.
I hashtag nine shrines. I don't.
Hashtag blame Elfie.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Oh
can't
fuck,
see.
we should have trended blame Raw last night.
Oh yeah. Also, like, Jin's voice is actually just Jay attempting to sound sultry, and it makes me laugh because I honestly almost
What do
fell asleep.
what do you mean attempting?
That's your interpretation of it.
Yes. Yes, it is. Wait, I need to re-listen for a second because I actually forgot what it was really like. Okay, I got distracted.
It's like this low, deep drawl. But like,
Well, then it's probably attractive. Let's see.
God.
Yep, it's attractive. What? I need to check.
Um,
Oh shit, I turned up the volume 1 sec. Ow. Ow. Had to turn it back down. I've been having to mess with it a lot because I was trying to watch Jupiter Ascend earlier, and that one fucking older brother keeps talking in a whisper, and it's like, dude, they just flicked away from you to an explosion, and I blasted my ears out, you asshole. You are my least favorite villain.
earlier I had to restart Firefox, and I guess I turned up my audio without noticing, so I was like hurriedly muting all my YouTube videos, and I thought I got them all, but I had an episode of Wizard High School open, so all of a sudden I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, okay, let's get back to watching my, oh my god, Ash is screaming in my ears.
Ha!
She was yelling at someone about something, and just like, oh god, why? Why did I do this to myself? Oh, I point out Zelveta actually kind of did a good thing. Ha!
He tried, yes. I think it is really telling that he was willing to try and talk with the band leader for Gregor's sake
Right?
before he got goaded. Like, he is a dedicated little guy.
He's like a really loyal, angry dog. Like,
I wouldn't call him loyal per se. I mean, I guess he sort of is, but he doesn't have Gregor's best interests, just Gregor's wants in mind.
I don't think Gregor has Gregor's best interests in mind.
Gregor thinks he does. Zelveta knows he doesn't. I I admit in Gregor's on Gregor's behalf, I did kind of want to smack Shin when he was like, "Oh, you've never dealt with something like this. Oh, bitch, you want to bet?"
Yeah.
Like Gregor should have just put down the lemonade, picked up his glaive with his other hand, and smacked the spirit with the flat of the blade. Imagine how surprised Shin would have been too, because he's used to things going through him. But Gregor's glaive is specifically enchanted so it can actually hit spirits.
No, that was Ash.
No, no, remember when it became the glaive of the waves?
Yeah, but when he used it in dealing with death to hit the things, it wasn't because of that. It was because Ash used like a frost thing on it.
Yeah, but I thought he later used it and it still worked.
Not that I
What did
recall.
this what did the spirit say that it did to his glaive?
It makes people calm and it does like passive healing.
Huh, okay.
I rewatched TI for the 74th time this week these past 3 days. I'm slowly like it's worrying me almost that I can like recite certain scenes by heart as they're happening. Like, I mouth Orion's words along with him. I really love Orion. Yeah. And Zeke is all like trying to be, oh, we're gonna keep the peace between the spirit folk and the humans, It's like Zeke, you sent them to murder Pyrethrum in the first place. you do not have any further moral ground here.
I mean, to be fair, Pyrethrum kind of needed to go down. He was sort of a dick.
Yeah, but I mean, he's trying to be like, oh, well, just everything will be turning out fine. It's like, dude.
Pyrethrum was also antagonizing humans, though, in Zeke's defense. Playing the devil's advocate, Pyrethrum or Pyrium or whatever the F, my brain's everywhere. He was actively increasing negative feelings towards spirits with his actions.
Yeah.
And his slugs.
That's called that. We're jumping around a lot because I'm just kind of looking at my notes and reading off whatever I feel is relevant. We didn't get a full shot of Jin, which bothers me because like, you couldn't really quite tell exactly what he looked like from the image. He was just kind of ghosty-ish with like big blue eyes that you kind of notice, literal eyes.
I just realized he actually looks like a white version of another spirit that we saw a differently colored version of earlier on in the Shrouded Isles.
Does he?
Yeah. I can't remember whether it was one of the weird outline things that was working for Charoth when he was a shrimp death thing, or whether it was hanging out outside Khalil's hut.
That would be a Zeth. He didn't look like that.
No, Zeth was outside the when they came out from the Pigbat portal.
Yeah.
Was he also the one that was outside of Khalil's place, or was that someone else?
Because there's no other spirits living on that island besides Kilo, I think. Which is why it was weird that Zeth was there and no one really paid it any heed.
Was friggin' Jay seeding like the adventure for the thing where Zeth steals from the Fox King's palace that far ahead?
Yes.
Jay! Absurd.
Well, I mean, it's been a recurring thing. He was there in Shrouded Isles, then it was the intro in one of the things, and it was mentioned by a theory. So I mean, yes.
For a second, I thought you said a fairy, and I was like, there haven't been any fairies. I know.
There should be. Also, like, Jin was, like, really attached to Tilvillian from what it sounds like. He specifically, like, calls him a friend.
He got actually upset when talking about it. Like, I think partly the whole he drove himself to death trying to fulfill his dream, and you bastards are the reason he had to drive himself to death trying and failed anyway thing.
And the line that I took particular note of is that to put the flower back in this resting place that I carved for him. Which is like, I don't even know how to react to that. That's like a really, really powerful like sentence.
Yeah, I know, right? Like you're thinking he's just really smug and an asshole, and then all of a sudden he comes out with shit like that. And oh, you're so cute. Humans are adorable. Yes, you're very fleeting. Comes to that, I wanted my friend back. Whoa,
Yeah.
Okay. Whoa.
Like,
I actually want to kind of hug you if you wouldn't incinerate me.
Like, I didn't necessarily agree with either Gregor or Jin on this topic, just because it's kind of gone to extremists. But I respect them both, like, ridiculously as characters.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, that is such a good way of wording it.
Yeah, like, you were kind of rooting for both of them, but neither of them at the same time.
You were rooting for both of them, and you wanted to smack both of them and yell at both of them.
More or less. And neither of them, like, technically won because they came to kind of an understanding.
Gregor almost won, though. Gregor managed to successfully make a god stutter and pause and get kind of confused. Only Gregor could manage that. Yes. Actually, no, Marcus probably could, but it would be a different way. It would be by throwing around glitter while he talked. Until they were just so confused by the flamboyance.
There's also a line that I didn't quite understand what Horman meant by it, but I took note of it anyway, where he says that Jin Colin arm wrestling is like a show of trust, or like the biggest show of trust, quote, other than suspending one's name. Which, like, what does that mean?
Yeah, we need to find that out later.
I assume it has something to do with the whole titles are equivalent to names in this land kind of thing. But I have no idea. I have honestly no idea.
So maybe meeting someone without your name is also meeting them without your title, just as two individuals, whoever you believe you are at your core depth, taking aside current truths.
Yeah.
Found one of the notes. When he mentioned, like, even before Telvillian came up, I kill people who murder my own, same as yours,
Yeah.
same as you. I feel like Gregor should have really connected. I mean, like, not in a he was out of character way, but like, damn it, Gregor, why didn't you? Should have connected with that.
Yeah.
Up until this whole schism between Gregor and Ash, at least, and then Marcus, Gregor totally would have murdered the shit out of someone for killing them.
Hmm.
Like, his freaking song goes over it. Gregor, why can't you see that it's the same?
That's another explanation. The another no, that's not the word. More evidence for the circle of death that I mentioned. That's basically what it is you killed my people, I kill your people, you killed my people, I kill your people, just like endlessly. So like even though it did start with one side committing violence, the other side retaliated, and now it's just becoming this endless circle of violence. Like, come on, guys. It,
Ultimately, this the diplomacy was never going to fully work, no matter what,
yeah,
because either of them, however far they made their point, however well they made it, the other one would always get a certain point in understanding and then just refuse to comprehend a point that would force them to officially lose, so to speak, or would force them to admit the other side had a valid point. For Gregor, he just seemed to block out the fact that the reason things had gotten this violent had gone from the band being on the run to starting fights was that he took the flower.
hmm
And that actually the spirit has several issues.
yeah.
Why don't they have therapy in this world? We've talked about this.
They do. The therapist is down the digger
Why didn't they bring Dow?
because he doesn't really talk.
He could have banged his axe. It would have worked.
What it's
Honestly, it's honor. It could have.
yeah. Um, it also just occurred to me that we don't really have like a consistent timeline in a sense. Like we know that everyone went to war. We don't really know how long the quote war like happened for because my assumption is that we're going to cut back to like Inian and Ash and Marcus and they're all going to have like either finished or be in the middle of whatever just happened to them. And then like the spirit Telvillian Jin whatever is going to fly into the city and cause havoc. So I'm kind of curious as to like what point in time everyone is at because presumably Inian and Ash have been fighting for like at least an hour in real time. The war goes on for at least an hour.
Maybe two.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this wasn't a war, this was a battle. A
Yeah.
war would be an ongoing campaign. So there was the battle in Iniocho. God fucking damn it, Gregor. There was him giving people lemonade, kind of adorable. There was him going to meet the spirit, and then there was the whole exchange with the spirit, which took at least 30 minutes plus all off-screen travel.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And
Either
Iocho is a fair distance away from Shinkala.
Oh yeah. So either Ash and Idian have been fighting for more than 2 hours, or one of them's already in a puddle of blood at this point. I hope it is Inian.
I think that's going to be the kind of thing where Inian is out DPSing Ash, but Ash has better healing.
Has healing, period. Inian,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Once she can land a hit on Inian, it'll be over.
Her weakness is taking bricks to the face, especially while spellcasting. So, I mean, there's plenty of bricks there.
You know what Ash should do? Somehow get Colvin over there. He specializes in punches. The weakness of all wizards. He can say that Inian is stronger than him, but Ash and Colvin together could definitely take Inian.
Oh yeah. I would pay to see that fight.
I would pay to see the fight, period. Hint, hint. Whole Gregor episode.
Like 2 weeks in a row, yeah. What was I gonna say about that actually? Oh, I noticed while I was rewatching Wizard High School that Colvin's whole thing isn't necessarily like striking first. It's more that someone else strikes and he retaliates.
And he
Like
does it better and harder and more awfully.
he's not like fast, but he's got really good reflexes.
He is also pretty fast. I mean, like, Marcus threw a punch and it didn't even get a chance to land.
He parries your strike and immediately breaks your arm.
I figured that was one of those going around the arm, like under it, then curving his hand up and over and kind of pushing his forearm against the back of their arm while keeping. I can't explain it, but I think it was one simple maneuver that did it.
Yeah.
One simple maneuver and a flex.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually just like Marcus like he held up his own arm and just blocked it, and then just used his other hand to just punch Marcus in the arm. Like that would not be a hard maneuver. Marcus, I don't think can punch very hard.
Well, I mean, like to literally parry the arm, he would just have to catch it, sort of.
Yeah.
Slide his arm under and around, and then horrible, horrible cracking noises
Or
follow.
just grab his fist in his hand. Like, again, it would not be very difficult.
It wouldn't be as difficult, but they couldn't have justified the animation they used, and that animation was so fantastic later on.
Yeah. Poor Marcus.
Every time I see that animation, though, I think of the Mean Girls thing someone did.
Yeah. I think that was Kara.
Who added on Wednesdays we wear sparkles?
I don't know. I've never seen Mean Girls, so I didn't really understand most of that.
It's stereotypical but fun.
Mm. Also, the weight of another person is apparently equivalent to 20 markai, so like that's Marcus. I love the idea that Marcus weighs like 10 pounds. Because it honestly just makes it sound like he weighs like less than 10 pounds.
I could believe it. I mean, with the cape, he weighs like 20 pounds, but there's a lot of sandbags in there.
Some of his bags are enchanted too, so I mean.
No, but remember he specifically said he had sandbags?
Yeah, but then someone said, why did you go spinning around in the cloud gate so much? He goes, oh, well, some of my bags are enchanted to weigh less. So that's like, yeah.
He's a human feather. Oh, I had forgotten this. Just this one phrase. Let's take a moment to appreciate. Continues to wiggle its fingers seductively at you.
I always just imagine the Jin just kind of like slowly raising an eyebrow that it doesn't have. Hey, come on, let's arm wrestle. I mean, come on, yeah.
See, I picture like Gregor not really knowing how to respond, but in the background, Horrivan's just kind of giving Jin an eyebrow, like, really? Really?
Like, Jin is slowly raising an eyebrow and Horrivan is slowly like narrowing his eyes. Like, I don't trust you.
Oh, I imagine like raising an eyebrow in response, but while Jin's is the seductive eyebrow, Horrivan's is the eyebrow of disappointed disbelief.
That's a good way to put it.
Horrivan expects better of you. Then again, Horrivan wouldn't have to lift an eyebrow very much for it to be noticeable.
Yeah.
I mean, he was called Eyebrows for a reason.
Together, he and Marcus are the disappointed dads.
Marcus or thought? Yeah, no, Wait, no, Marcus was mom. Marcus was mom.
Yes, I remember.
Fuck, one of One of the lines I will always remember from Gollum. Missed you too, Momkus. What? Marcus?
uh, also, like, why did Gregor specify a pine table is a question I have. He decided that really quickly.
I think maybe he just likes pine. Maybe he was being specific to be difficult because none of the trees around them were coniferous. They were all deciduous. Did I mix up coniferous? Nope, I didn't. Yes, got it right. Only thing I remember from that science class.
To be fair, we don't know. We also don't know what wood his like glaive is made out of. So I mean, they could be one and the same. I don't know. It's probably too like red to be pine though.
Yeah, I'd think it would be a harder wood than that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's maple.
Today on the podcast, we get in depth about the proper wood to make a glaive out of. I would honestly probably listen to Gregor just talk about what like the properties of making a weapon. So that actually sounds really interesting.
Shit, I would so listen to that.
Like, you know, this metal is like sharper, but it's heavier, and this one is more resistant. But yeah, I'd listen to that.
And also, there'd be all this stuff on like the balance of it. See, he has almost no knowledge for lots of things, but then there's certain things where he blows everyone else out of the water. I'm just imagining he knows about physics, but only in application to glaive swinging. Like, he can get into this huge thing on, like, the exact physical equation, but only if it's used in regards to swinging or stabbing a glaive.
Yeah, that'd be amazing though. Also, then you could have Marcus chime in about like different like magical materials and enhancements for weapons. 'Cause I assume that there's probably like I don't know magic metal,
Oh, yeah, there must be.
like mithril or an equivalent. So that would also be super neat.
Which one would presume the glaive had been made out of, except that the whole, Marcus cracked it.
Oh yeah.
Man, Gregor, that was one of like the few times I can remember Gregor swearing. There was that, and when Ash tried to burn the body.
Yeah.
Ash, I'm gonna need you to tell me what the fuck it is you're doing.
I want to say there's one other time, but I can't remember what it is.
No, I was gonna say I don't know. I can remember one other time where I think it was more Jackson than Gregor, but that's different. That would be when he smacked Ash on the butt with his glaive. What the fuck, Gregor? It's refreshing. The wording choice, it's refreshing. Brings so many questions, and we've never had them answered.
That whole bit was so great. Kier just talking about post-mortem culture. Just like, hey look, more parallels between Grius and Honorant. Also poor Kier. that post-mortem Grecian aesthetic.
Oh, now I'm thinking about that theory where he had to bury all the dead on his own again.
Oh.
I still get yelled at by Kara for that. I regret it in no way. I just had a note about I figured out how to phrase one of the main flaws in how Gregor went into this. He tried to lay down conditions and rules in situations where he didn't have leverage.
Yeah.
He tried to order when he did not have power behind it, which basically means he was just being a small yappy dog.
Basically, like, he's a foreigner who doesn't really have, like, he's a champion of the Rust clan, and that is about as much power as he has in honor.
Somebody draw a really tiny sheep, a really tiny terrier with a glaive strapped to its back.
Like, are we just gonna have, like, at some point a dog AU? Like, get Neffy to guest star on the podcast and be like, alright, dog AU, go.
Ash is so fluffy, no one knows what's under there. Turns out she's secretly a cat.
Lord. I was expecting to hear, like, she's a Samoyed or something. No, she's just secretly a cat. Disguised as a dog.
Actually, I feel like most of them are more cat than dog.
I think it's like 50-50.
I mean, Marcus, I totally meant to do that Valafi. Thog, would be a cat person.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kieran Gregor are dogs.
Velvetto would be like a fox or a rabbit.
Zelvetta's no, Zelvetta's a freaking ferret.
I just love the idea of this little rabbit that seems really unassuming and just loves kicking people in the face. Oh, we got back on a pet shop AU, basically. Or something equivalent.
I wouldn't want to have Zelvetta as a pet. I would I would wake up one night to find him trying to murder me.
No, but like, he
He'd be
would
one of
be.
those ball pythons that kills their owners, you know it.
Yeah, but like, I just imagine him as a cat, and like, you come downstairs and your living room is just filled with dead mice.
I
He's just,
stand I stand by my statement of him being a muscalid. A mongoose, maybe. Yeah, he could be a mongoose. Somebody bought him, thought he was a ferret. Nope, fucking mongoose.
Lord. And then the line from Zeke about his bowel ripper style of healing. It's just, I'm so worried.
Did you see Gregor's art for that one?
Yeah,
He's fine, he's angry, he's back to fine, he's mildly annoyed, all of a sudden really worried.
yeah. It's just like, is this
Did,
something you already did? Yep. Oh.
oh.
Um, and then we kind of left off the episode with the spirit, like, going into the flower, and then there was a wisp, and then it flew away, and now I'm extremely worried. Like, I was kind of worried when they were talking with Jin, and now I am just extremely worried. Because we all know that, like, Jinkala is going to get messed up. So, like, I'm very, very, very worried.
Wow, I have a lot of notes that come down to humans are dicks. No, like, I have a lot of them. So, they are kind of oppressing the Spiritfolk, Gregor. Yes, they were pricks before, but they are being hunted now. We created it for them. Okay, that kind of makes it a little awkward. Um, the laws of this land that I helped write, yes, I'd be pretty salty there too. Or the laws of this land that I helped create. Did he create the laws or did he create the land? Because I could buy either one with what he's shown. I I just keep getting caught up on the fact that I think the humans are really dicks here. I keep coming back to it because I want to smack them all and go, you're both in the wrong, stop being pretentious.
Yeah.
I appreciate that after the fact, at least Gregor realized he should have brought Thog. And I shoved the conversation bundle into your arms.
Yeah, see, now I'm thinking about is that, like, it's the kind of thing that I think this is just, like, a thing that is going to continuously happen in this world in different lands because, like, we know that the gods were once, like, oppressing everybody, and then a bunch of humans revolted, and that's where, like, tieflings and stuff came from.
Well, were they repressing people or just. I mean, I guess they were at first because of the situation, but it had been so long. Were they still repressing or oppressing, or were they just kind of trying to rule? There
Yep.
is a difference.
The humans were in a bad spot, so that's kind of like, they were having a bad time, so they kind of revolted and things went okay. And then, like, we don't know, was it such a downswing of power that, like, they just kind of did the same to all of the gods? Like,
They might have been so scared of the gods that they were like, we can't leave any of them alive or they'll take power back or take revenge on us. We have to get them now because it's now us or them.
so to some extent, it is understandable, but at the same time, it's another case of we went too far, too fast, too serious, all that stuff. Like,
Too much.
yeah. The kill first, ask questions later about it. What we're doing is actually a good thing?
I mean, technically, they are the only beings where you can kill first and then ask questions later, but that's
That-
beside the point.
That's not going to get. That's still a bad thing to do societally.
Yes, it is. I just needed to make the point. Uh, Mostly loving Jin caring that much about his friend. Oh, yes, and that Jin actually specifically said he thought Gregor was cute, and I found that weirdly adorable.
Every- I think a lot of people think Gregor's cute because, I mean, to be fair, he's like, I don't know.
Yes, the cow child.
Yeah,
What was it that I think Kara called him Cow Child Tornado Warrior?
yeah.
We need to find that story out, by the way. They can't keep holding it out on us.
Can that be a new Patreon tier reward?
Patreon tier reward. We get to hear the explanation of stories where we've only heard a brief reference,
I want,
such as why is Marcus being chased by like, or why did the Empress Dowager of Tanhanok or whatever it was want his head? What
yeah,
did you do that time? Was it?
exactly.
Oh God, I shouldn't have thought that. My first answer was her daughter, probably.
Or just her. We don't know how old the Dowager Empress was. God. Marcus is like the equivalent of villains in television shows where they're wanted in like 49 countries, except he hasn't really done anything like specifically terrible. It's just a bunch of really tiny, terrible things that are just piling up.
I mean, I think there are shows with heroes like that.
Yeah.
It's like the ones that are somehow situation makes them seem more like roguish rakes than they really are. Actually, I think we might do that because from everything I've seen, he's not actually that smooth. He's really a fucking dork.
Basically.
I watched the Valafentine episode yesterday. He's a fucking dork. Oh
I
man, how
it's
fantastic would that be though? If they went somewhere he actually did need to charm someone to get them in, like properly, it mattered, and all of a sudden they find out he can be very smooth and charming. He just doesn't like to be because it feels fake.
yeah.
Oh, that could be sad. That could tie back to his backstory in Tannhauser.
It could also just be extremely cute though.
It could. So that could even be a Daw moment when um it was like, so every time you very awkwardly hit on one of us, yep, that was genuine. I could have been charming, but I wouldn't lie to you like that. Aww. You're
um,
still awkward as shit, though.
I think we all just kind of want to see like an episode where they like have to infiltrate like a party or something, like a proper
Yes!
ball, like 'cause dancing and having to fit in with like other people and having to be proper and all dressed up.
So, in other words, you want to see the first 2 minutes of them trying and then having to escape the country when they fail.
Yes, yes.
Gregor, especially. Gregor, they would only be able to manage if there were specific blah. What's the word I'm looking for? If they gave the specific order and Gregor understood it of you do not talk to anyone, carry this tray, say nothing.
I wrote a fic and I read to post it because I'm still not happy with it. Where basically just Ash has to like go undercover as a princess, and Marcus is like her royal advisor, and Gregor is her bodyguard, and they have to like infiltrate a party. And
I think that would just end with blood everywhere.
I didn't actually like write the part of them doing it. It's more about Ash just being really upset and having to be like all formal and proper, and Marcus like giving her lessons.
I'd think that would be more like really disturbing to her because it would remind her of me,
Yeah,
though,
exactly.
wouldn't it?
And Marcus was just like, yeah, well, we all have to do things we don't want to do sometimes. I don't know. It was cute. I'm never happy with it. I keep rereading it and being like, well, this doesn't quite flow right. Sad face.
Like,
So,
do you think they would go for the seeing a girl who normally is very tomboyish in a dress everyone's wowed trope? Or do you think they would take the everyone sees her goes, no, that's wrong, and you look uncomfortable, also go change into something else? You're making us uncomfortable, and you're clearly not chill with this route.
I'm having flashbacks to the drawing I did for the Secret Santa of where Ash is
Yeah,
in a tux,
the
tears
suit.
in a dress.
Oh my god. How long would it take them to convince Kier that that would draw too much attention at the party?
Um, 10 minutes?
Thog, though. Thog would fucking either he would just wreck everything, he would be too street, he would be too rough around the edges, like bad at being polite and charming, just too much of that obnoxious, pissed at all these rich people drawl, or he would nail it perfectly.
Based on how he was in like the early, like way early on, I think he would nail it. I think he'd be really good at it. He'd hate it, but I think he'd be really good at it.
See, based on how he was early on, I would agree. But then we come to, hi, my name is Dan, I'd like to come inside your wizard hole. And now I just always have to wonder, is he really that good a liar outside of contracts? Is he really?
Yeah, when you were talking about that, I somehow got like the mental image of Fog growing his hair out slightly longer and tying it into a ponytail. Like a really short ponytail, and I don't know, but I think that would look rad.
I have a bias there. I cannot answer properly because I have a thing for guys with ponytails. It's sexy. Shut up. You shut your mouth. It's sexy.
I will not.
Would you like me to explain why it's attractive?
No.
I will go there, man. Don't you press me. Man, I really want that pudding now. Like I know it was a joking threat, but I actually really want that pudding.
You can have it after the podcast.
Thanks, Mom. Mom kiss.
Yeah, there's no good way you can make a joke out of my name. It starts with an E and ends in a Y.
Challenge accepted.
I also started I didn't realize I was doing it until I was actually like rewatching stuff. But like when I rewatched this week's episode, and then I watched the one with Zeke's master, I actually went and double checked the translated text from the beginning of the arc, and I was like, huh, is this one of those Spiritfolk? But I don't think it is. So I don't know. Sad face.
So if the group were actual Spiritfolk, what do you think they'd look like? Like those jokes about Humble Cow and I am a ram aside?
Well, it's like, what would they be the spirit, like, would they be a Spiritfolk of something? Or would they be
Of glaives. Spirit of glaives.
Who's to say Gregory just wouldn't be a sentient glaive?
Didn't we already cover that's his true form? He's just the mouthpiece for the glaive.
Well, Telvillian turned himself into a flower, so imagine a Spiritfolk that turns himself into a weapon, and it's really super powerful, but it can't talk anymore. I don't know. I feel like that would be something Gregor would do.
Oh hey, I've got something that we've been forgetting for a while. Blue Cloak.
Oh yeah.
So there's that whole thing with somebody's going, the spirit that I seek is in Jinkala or whatever. So aside from the fact that either one of those figures could have been Jin and or Blue Cloak, oh shit, that was another thing I forgot. But first this. Have we discussed what'll happen if Blue Cloak is carrying on the glorious work of the Outriders in terms of hunting Spiritfolk? Because if so, that'll make this way worse.
They didn't hunt Spiritfolk. They hunt monsters. There is a difference.
Yeah, but there's also there's entire groups where their whole job is to kill stuff and find out whether it regenerates.
Yeah, but that's not what she is. She's of the Outriders, who were specifically monster hunters, monster slayers. Gregor, basically said at one point, I think, that sounded cool, but he wasn't part of it. That wasn't a thing he did.
I hope not.
What was the other thing you wanted to say?
Oh yeah. That Jin said, he didn't say there's no humans right now that I care about. He said there's very few.
Well, there could be humans within the band. I mean, Horvin is there. Horvin is a band.
Yeah, but what if he wasn't just talking about band? Could he have been talking about Zeke, and that's why he didn't goad Zeke or break his arm, but was willing to discuss with him? Could he be talking about Ash because she's maybe carrying a Spiritfolk?
There's also the Like, members of the band have families who are spirits. That's not to say that Jin doesn't have a family. Like, for all we know, he does.
How would that relation work?
Who knows by this point? Spirit folk are enigmas.
I still like the idea that it'll turn out that he at least on some level values Ash.
Hmm.
Just because it would be an interesting and awkward confrontation.
What were Ash and Horriman hanging out? Whenever I rewatched that episode, I love Horriman's speech so much. I love Horriman so much. He's got such like an interesting personality
I,
and
I
outlook on life.
I can only ever remember from that speech, as you were, soldier. Yes, sir. Is that going to be okay? Oh, yeah, he'll forget in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It is both useful and infuriating.
The other thing I thought you were going to point out, because I mentioned the ciphertext at the beginning of the thing, is that we now know what it meant. Well, we figured this out like 2 weeks ago, but we never mentioned it. Is that we now know what it meant from the intro pages of Awakened and Nascent in reference to tieflings.
Oh, yeah, I missed that conversation.
Like, we didn't mention it, but like that was the thing that we kind of figured out because that's what happened to Marcus. So,
Now I need to go back and reread what exactly it said on that page.
yeah, I meant to take a screenshot and then I forgot. Remember the Awakened were like violent and unpredictable or something ridiculous? So, yeah.
So, is Marcus going to get more violent and unpredictable? Because he's already unpredictable enough.
Yeah. I think that's why we thought at first that that's what was possibly up with him, but now we're like, oh, that's probably not the case because that's just what happened. So, I don't know, theories they use, anything. I don't really have much.
We were talking about obnoxious, vicious pets, I think.
Yeah. That should be like a weird, like, obscure slash vicious pet AU. Where, like, Gregor is actually just a bull.
No, I still insist that he be a tiny, tiny dog that barks a lot. Whereas Kier is one of those giant ones.
But it's just really, like, adorable and cute and gets scared by fireworks and thunderstorms.
Yes. Him trying to like hide his whole body under super skinny cat Marcus when fireworks go off.
He just wears them like a hat. Like, if I can't see them, they can't see me.
So would would the spirit folk be like the owners then?
I
Charoth and his cat, Ash.
That'd be so cute.
Or would Charoth also be one? Would Charoth be like a bunny? Or
Charles
a rat?
a shrimp.
Yes. Good.
An actual shrimp.
Perfect.
Like poisonous or venomous or something ridiculous.
I don't think shrimp can be venomous.
Exactly. I'm talking about a theoretical murderous ferret here.
Whoa, have you ever met a ferret? Those things are fucking vicious.
I wanted a ferret when I was younger, though. I don't think I've ever actually, like,
Me too.
had a ferret. They're really cute, though. Oh, that's one of my the other things that now we're going back. I'm going back to stuff from the intro that we still don't know quite what's going up with. But like, I don't think the loser of that fight was Jin. So like, I'm clinging to the really faint hope that when I re-listened to it before this episode, I thought it was Zelvetta, but I don't know, not
I
quite.
don't think he would talk that way. Like the speech patterns didn't really.
Yeah, but his voice isn't close enough to Jin for it to be Jin. So. That also reminds me, could we just have like a book of Honorian name meanings? Because I keep getting like really curious about all these things. Like Jin Kala. What does Kala mean? Are those two things related? I assume they're related.
Why didn't they change the name when they overthrew the gods? Seems kind of silly.
Yeah. Maybe Kala means like demise. It's actually just like, hey, this dude, we overthrew this guy here. It was super huge. Oh god, there's another thing I wanted to talk about. Now that was like slightly pertaining to this, but I don't quite remember what.
Was it combustible lemons?
No, but everyone's been going on about combustible lemons now, and I want to see Kier and Gregor make combustible lemons.
It is such a Marcus and Kier
Yes,
thing.
but Gregor is the one who loves the lemons.
Yes, which means he wouldn't want to use them to burn people's houses down.
Not necessarily. I think he would appreciate something that doubles as a food and a weapon.
I I don't know. I mean, like, even the idea of Kier training around their house. Remember his response to Ash? Ash, no, we can't encourage this. We live there.
I like the idea of now an edible glaive.
I think you just spoke blasphemy in his language.
I don't know what it would be made out of, like jelly or like gummy or something. But,
Just,
like an
just,
edible
just stop.
glaive.
Imagine Gregor looking at you right now, horrified. He's horrified.
It's just making me laugh harder. I don't know why you think that's going to help. God, what else? Oh yeah, like rewatching the part of Gods Are Gone and Romance of the Four Clans is like quietly giving me suspicions about things. Like, why is Shinkala called the Labyrinthine City?
Because maybe underneath there's a giant labyrinth.
See, that's what I'm thinking about, and that is making me worry, especially because when they arrived in the city, Kier said that his first instinct was to dig.
Fuck damn it, Jay, are you doing that thing again?
So, yeah.
And I mean, wasn't the Gold Clan stuff underground?
That's like,
I bet that was under a mountain.
there's like the rise, and then the top of the rise is the Lily Clan. Under the rise is the Gold Clan. To the side and the back of the rise is the Rest Clan. So I mean, not technically like under the city and or a labyrinth. Especially because of what we've seen of the city so far, like it just looks really open and like, you know, like so it doesn't really make any sense that it would be seen as the labyrinthine city. It could just be a case of like in the Great Iconoclasm or something, the old city like burned down or was destroyed, and they just built upon its remains. And then just the name never changed.
Now I'm thinking of all those things you see where it's like post-apocalyptic scenario, or it's just the future, and the characters will go down and find the remains of the old city underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Ruby, you got so grim so fast. No pun intended.
Oh, I was gonna say that's an amazing pun. Why couldn't you?
Because I'm above that.
Are you though? Are you really? You could have used a different word. You could have used morbid or depressing or dark. No, you said grim.
Because you say grim in that situation. It's a language thing.
Is it though? Is it really?
Yes, it really is. You just like using that.
Yes,
blank
I love using that phrase because I like to try and hope people second guess themselves.
Nice try. You're have to go at it harder than that with me.
The thing with Gregor making the deal with Jin and then like hopping into the flower is like it made me think of like one of the 3 episodes of Legend of Korra I've seen where Juan accidentally lets loose the dark spirit, like he gets tricked into letting it loose. Like the first Avatar thing.
First Avatar and best or second best Avatar, yes.
So like that's kind of what I first thought happened, is that like Jin tricked him. So now like I said, I am very worried. Are we going to finally get the giant angry deer monster? I feel like that's a thing that everyone is expecting.
I wasn't expecting it, but I want it now.
That's what we were talking about a while back, that he was going to go plant the flower in Iocho, and the Telvillian would, like, transform back into himself and get really mad and turn into this giant angry deer.
See, the image of a really, really angry deer with its head lowered like a bull chasing after Gregor while he runs away is making me happier than it should.
We don't even know what Telvillian looks like, but I've got, like, a really solid headcanon for him, because I really like the idea that he's got, like, tree antlers. Because I think that would be really cute. Like, flowers grow in them and stuff. I also really like the idea of, like, if/when Telvillian is on better, like, terms with people pluck the flowers from his, like, like horn antlers and make them into like flower crowns and put flower crowns on his head and like bracelets and necklaces and stuff. Basically, I just want Telvillian to be like happy again. That'd be awesome. Even if he's just basically a deer. I just got the mental image of like this giant red deer kicking Gregor in the face.
It's pleasant, isn't it?
Poor Greg. Yeah. So what do we think is going
Hopefully
to happen?
more Ash.
Hope he did say at the end that it's going to be another long episode. Birthday episode will hopefully be amazing.
I
Huzzah!
love Gregor. I really do. But I swear to God,
Yeah,
if it's another Gregor episode,
it's like
I
you love cake, but you can only eat so much cake before your stomach starts to hurt. I think that's a good.
yeah, if I see another cake, I'm flipping a table. The
Good.
table with the cake on it.
And then you will burn the cake down with the combustible lemons. Because the cake is a lie there.
God damn it, we went so long without that. We went so long and you just had to
I mean you already made portal jokes. I don't kind of expected. If you'd like to listen to more episodes of the podcast, you can find us at spiritfolksaturdays.tumblr.com. If you want to join the TI Skype chat, feel free to shoot us an ask with your Skype name. We'd be happy to have you. Thanks for listening. We'll see everybody next week. Bye!